In the backdrop of this and in the backdrop of the turmoil that Sri Lanka faced 2 years back, these are now very consequential elections that are taking place in Sri Lanka. How do you see the next 5 years after conducting these elections for Sri Lanka and for the region at large?
It's for Sri Lanka to decide now, for the voters to decide what's the future they want. And that will determine the economic issues. Are we to go ahead, modernize ourselves, become export-oriented industry, economy, ensuring better incomes and better lifestyle for all our people, or are we going to stay in this rut? That is what we have to decide. I took over as president when the country was in utter chaos and no one thought that we could stabilize this fast. But I knew from experience that we could go ahead provided we had the support of the IMF and our creditors. And this is what I have done. I have ensured that we have come back to normalcy, law and order is functioning, democracy is functioning, and though we have stabilized the economy, now we have to decide the path. Are we going to get into the same old ways, or are we working towards an strong export economy? I have said that we should have a strong export economy, which will help the people, and I've asked for a mandate to go ahead.
Right. So, thank you, sir. You made two very important points. One is that Sri Lanka now has to decide whether it wants to go back to its old ways. Why do you say that? What makes you feel or fear that what happened 2 years back, that prospect would actually return? What makes you say that, sir?
Because I find my two main opponents are not aware of it. In fact, with one of them you go back there. In the case of the other, while claiming to be market economy, virtually giving everything free. So where's the money for that? We haven't got the money for that. So either way you will get into a crisis with them.
And the sense one gets is that in this election, the opposition candidates have made economy as a major issue, and they have said that the measures that have been taken in the last 2 years, in the last 24 odd months, may have brought the economy back on track, but it is impacting people on ground. How do you respond to that kind of a criticism coming from the opposition?
I made the economy an issue. Until I declared my candidacy, economy was not an issue. And I've explained, look, what it was at that time, the hardships we had to suffer. Life is better, though, and certainly, but we have not come back to the situation in 2019. At that time, certainly cost of living was far more affordable. We collapsed completely. The rupee went to 370 per dollar. So the prices doubled, income didn't.
Yes.
But now we've stabilized the rupee, so prices have come down. Certainly some by 10%, some by 40%. There's a longer way to go. Secondly, we have increased the incomes. So the government servants will get another pay increase next year, and I think some allowances year after. Our welfare benefit payments have certainly increased. So we still have a gap, but that gap can be bridged. So it's a question of, okay, Greece had to go through this for 10 years.
Yes.
We are now trying to do this in 2 to 3 years. By next year, we'll be far better off. The issue is not that. The issue is, are we going toward the market economy or not? And are we going to stick to the IMF program? Now, some of the programs did cause issues. There were temporary hardships. The SJB wants to give everything free. What is left now, they've given everything free, only a headache. That's about the only thing that they can give free. The NPP doesn't know which way to go. Its economic policies are a mismatch. I mean, I don't think anyone else can understand that. So they are playing on the difficulties of the people, but they don't give an answer as to how you get out of it.
You made some very important remarks, sir, that what Greece went through, and it was actually imposed by the EU. Here, Sri Lanka itself has sort of put that in place to ensure that the next generation doesn't face the kind of hardships that the previous one or the present one had to face 2 years back. You came at a time when the economy and the country was in turmoil. You finished a term, and now you are looking to start a term fresh. So for you, the next 5 years, what would be your top 2-3 priorities for a 5-year term?
Mine would be to make our economy export-oriented. That will bring prosperity to the people.
How?
Well, with export income, your income will just...
No, how will you make it export-oriented?
Well, I've already brought in the Economic Transformation Law Act in Parliament. We put down criteria, benchmarks by law for the country to achieve. If we achieve those, it will become export-oriented economy. We have to drive it towards that. So when you restructure it, look at the areas in which you can take off. One is modernize agriculture, because there are going to be a bigger need for food.
Yes.
And that's one area. Renewable energy. There's a big demand for renewable energy in India, and if then the Singapore-India pipeline comes, we can, cables come, we can get on to that. Double our tourist numbers, but increase our earnings per head from 150 US to 400 US.
Okay.
Yeah. Have a better trained, better educated workforce, so that you could certainly become parts of supply chains and bring manufacturing industry into Sri Lanka. So these are but some other issues.
All this would require additional funding, sir. All of this, yes.
Yes, but most of it would be private funding.
Okay.
Investments.